Namaste, Galactic family. Welcome back to the channel, Indigo Angel. Come on into this dimension and come on into this sacred container today, where we're going to dive into some deep subject matter that I think is really relevant to the current times and what people are experiencing all the time. In general, this time of year, I think the realizations around these things definitely really get activated. The reality of spiritual warfare and all of the interdimensional chaos that's ensuing and going crazy on the planet at this time. So I'm here to talk to you today with Sethikus from Black Earth Productions. You guys know who he is. He's been on my channel before. We've had a couple go-rounds with some really deep topics. So I'm just so happy that you're back and you're here.
Excellent.
And how are you doing?
I'm kicking life's ass, despite the things that we're going to be getting into. And it is all across the board, whether people are conscious of it or not. And most of it is an unconscious current that if you're not able to detect it, it is running your ass. To dive into the topic today, it's going to be very powerful what we're able to touch upon. Knowing about a thing isn't the same as actually experiencing it. And when you actually experience a thing and know the depths of a thing, and then you're able to come through it on the other side and actually have clarity and context to what we're going to be getting into. I know that there's a lot more people out there that are experiencing this and they don't even know what the fuck is going on. And I just released a segment called Chaos versus Catharsis, the Thin Red Line. That was also timely as I was prompted to put that out. That had been sitting on the shelf for a while, but it's going to correlate everything that we get into today. So this is going to be good.
Yeah, and when you said people don't realize that it's going on, it kind of, I feel like it disguises itself. It comes through the guises of feeling victimized by your manifestation or by reality or feeling chastisement by God. People are always getting attacked or saying, my protections aren't working at this time. And distrust in the spiritual realm. I've encountered that a lot as well.
Yeah, I did listen to one of your reports, a little bit of it. I can absolutely confirm the things that you were picking up on in terms of the psychic field. One thing I don't like about the template when it comes to who I am is being fucking psychic. You can't turn it the fuck off. A gift and a curse at the same time. And when it comes to this specifically, people need to recognize the nature of hyperdimensional warfare and the tactics that your fucking enemy, the enemy of soul itself, implements to get you to second guess, to get you to doubt yourself, to get you to, see things from a skewed point of view. And as far as black magic is concerned, this entire fucking realm is saturated with it. But people call it normal. This is just how it is.
Yeah.
And we can see the mind control implemented, especially with the youth and the generation coming up and the direction that they're fucking going. It's absolutely fucking insane.
Yeah.
This specific type of fucking programming. This is left-wing communist shit being implemented. And it does have a dark occult current to it in context to what I'm getting at. And people don't have that discernment if they're miseducated, if they're ill-informed, and especially if they don't know how things actually work. You don't have a standing fucking chance in terms of what's being implemented on top of what's coming, which is going to get fucking worse. I'm not sugarcoating anything. It's all about seeing things for what it is and having a sober point of view. Okay, what are we going to do? What needs to be the thing that we need to be focused on in the midst of all of the flaming fucking arrows that are coming at your mind, that are coming at your heart, circumstances, people, whatever the fuck it is. It doesn't matter. You have to recognize it for what it is. And those of us that chose this path, this is a part of the path. It's always been a part of the path in terms of incarnation here. So if you can't take the heat, get the fuck off the goddamn field.
Yeah.
It's the heat
And
being turned up.
well, I want to say you're really speaking to my core right now. Like, and this is the first time we've done a show where I can say, like, wow, I'm really dialed in. Like, I'm just so in alignment with what you're saying, because I really noticed that within the spiritual community, there's a lot of veils, I think, that people are still working through in terms of their third eye and just their crown chakra and their total knowing and understanding of these things, right? For one, they're having to filter through all of the controlled narratives and controlled oppositions and particular groups that like to implement the satanic agendas, the Anunnaki agendas. And this is kind of the majority.
Even fucking glorify it as if it's the actual truth in terms of the origins of mankind and they're the fucking gods and all this fucking bullshit.
they're so insidious. They come in the guises of light. They come in the guises of community, which might get you on board to something or comes through a trusting door. I've seen gray Zeta aliens literally come through people, and they don't even know that they're in their field. They're being projected through and trading.
They're phasing in, and you can see it psychically, energetically, in terms of frequency and vibration. You have the gift.
Yes.
You have the gift of foresight.
And the level of abduction that the Greys are doing here is absolutely insane. I could go into that, but I feel like that's a whole nother gamut of this spiritual warfare topic that we're getting into today. And I just want to clarify that for everyone watching. We're talking about spiritual warfare. We're talking about the spiritual battle that we're all dealing with through the ascension cycle, war over consciousness. And we're talking about the negative alien agendas that are here that humanity is fighting through and against, which is coming through mind control, it's coming through soul possession, and it's coming through the war over God.
And that's a paradox in terms of the veils because of what's been implemented, and depending on what grid work of consciousness people are keyed into, when new information is presented that either challenges or contradicts a specific point of view or belief system, if you want to know the actual truth, you have to consistently put your point of view on the chopping block. If something's actually true, it's going to stand that cosmic axe coming down on it. If it's not, then you need to be willing to let it go. I think that's a lot of the things that people could be dealing with that cling on. And I speak about this in terms of the grand cycle and where things are. Okay. The Ragnarok, in terms of the tradition of my ancestors, what it explains about the death of Balder, and Balder being symbolism of the human soul. Unless all of creation cries out for Balder, Hyrule will continue the funeral pyre. That is what we have seen manifest in our world again since 2020. You can take it back to 9/11 or World War II or whatever. It's a repeat of the same fucking repackaged cycle again and again and again on a different spoke within this great wheel of the Ouroboros, the lockdown equation, the actual fucking trapezoid. And most of humanity, as I've said, stands at the first veil. Now, me and my kind, even you yourself, have pierced the veils further, a little bit deeper. They can't even accept the fact that government is fucking slavery. And people want to go on and on and on about geopolitics and have discussions about it. There is no fucking discussion. Government is fucking slavery, period. The king of tyranny programming and the way that they're able to implement mind control by giving people the illusion of choice. I knew this shit well over 20 years ago now. How the fuck people can't catch it or see it for what it is at this point, let alone within the spiritual community, and people want to get in arguments about ideologies.
Yeah.
They don't even have the correct framework knowing how things actually work in terms of spirituality, let alone reality. And it's a specific knowledge, disillusion, and confusion as a cause point for chaos magic in the fucking realm. People don't have viable proper knowledge and wisdom that actually gives them the ability to navigate these times. Okay.
Well, I wonder if there's a couple things that's coming to mind for me. For one, I think, and this is what I've just been coming to recently within my own spiritual understanding, is that the fall of man is at like the peak of the entirety of this. Like the belief that man is actually fallen and that there's like a fallen program sitting over humanity, basically, similarly to the crucifixion, wounding, and all of this. But it's deeper than that. It goes further than
that narrative.
Right.
That idea. And you need to understand something about parasitic consciousness. The most resilient parasite is a fucking idea. Because again, it's all about our state of mind. This is why they do mind control. And the main mechanism for that is the mainstream media.
Yeah.
Now, in light of what you wanted me to get into with you, I did a little bit of digging just to have some, reference material to correlate what we're touching upon and the actual reality. I can make correlations to the mythos and a lot of other things that people are into. That's the other factor. Everybody out there, for the most part, is dealing with fragments. Being able to access the true records in context to a mente is the path work that I teach. But before I go off on a fucking trail in terms of that, I want to explain some things that I did observe in the Ascension glossary to reference what we're talking about here. Okay. And I have all my source material in the Black Earth library. It's over 6 terabytes. A lot as far as the mystery school is concerned that people can look into for themselves. I don't want anybody out there just to take my word for anything, but genuinely look into these matters for yourself and then see how it correlates to your own experience. Think for yourself, question everything, and put what you assume to know on the fucking chopping block. Because if it's not true, why would you want to cling on to it? But that's what the fuck happens, Amanda. They cling on to these ideologies and then they get dragged through the fucking shadowlands with them.
It's really out of fear, isn't it? I mean, I think everybody's still operating from that place, even on a spiritual level.
Mm.
I can't tell you the abundance of people that I speak with daily and regularly. They're in fear of what's unknown within spirituality.
Fear of the unknown, right?
Mm-hmm.
And without having the courage to embrace the unknown, you're not going to evolve. You get caught, triangulated, locked the fuck down, and then dragged because you're not willing to let things go.
Mm-hmm.
And in context of alchemy, learning the arts, knowing how to transmute and alchemize fear into courage. We're going to experience fear here, but what is all fear based upon? Death, not surviving, non-existence.
Well, and I think that the powers that be as well,
They're projecting that as well. They're
um,
projecting that into the field because that is what they are.
right. And the Metatronic, Tothian stuff, all of that, people who question that, do I work with this? Do I not? It goes back to these fundamental things. And I'm recognizing this really has to do with people having very weakened connections to themselves and knowing who they are, and very weakened connections with source.
Right. Higher force.
And the power of the eternal.
Right.
Right. And so.
And that is the key at the basis of foundation. Without that, good luck piercing the veils. Good luck integrating higher awareness consciousness, let alone being able to acknowledge what the fuck is actually happening in the reality field. And then you get caught again in all the net traps and snares and assumptions and opinions about a thing. And you don't know, right hand from the left, let alone your fucking ass. We are living in confusing times. But all of this is happening on purpose to throw the realm into fucking chaos. And again, the definition of chaos is complete and total disillusion and confusion. When someone is in fear overtly, they're in the throngs of chaos. They're not able to organize or see clear or move through or navigate.
Yeah. The point I want to make with this too is for people at this point in time, what's going to help them the most when it comes to dealing with the reality of spiritual warfare on a global level, a collective level, an individual level, a personal level, all these different universal level, cosmic level, is to accept where we're actually at spiritually, is to accept what your reality is actually showing you. Mm-hmm. Right? And this is the denial.
Yeah.
Okay, we can blame it on the higher conscious community. We can blame it on the Tothian groups and the distortions and the mind control psyops and campaigns and the MK Ultra and the artificial intelligence.
It's all major factors in context of the manipulation of why people can't make that fucking connection. It's all out. And it's not to deny that. It's to actually acknowledge that. Because if you can't and you're like, oh, it's bullshit, you're a fucking idiot. And that may sound harsh, but you have to understand how the higher force has been working to get our fucking attention. And at this point, it's not going to be kind about it. Because if we don't cross these fucking thresholds in terms of the collective, it's going down the goddamn fucking tank even worse than it was. Being in denial of that, and then you want to go off in the fucking la la land and some false ascension fucking timeline with the Pleiadians or the fucking angels or whatever. Fuck. We are meant to anchor the higher here in this realm. That is what true ascension requires.
Okay. And it's also not really holding ourselves accountable when we do that to our own. Yeah, because I think what this requires, it requires us to adapt, and it requires us to change our perspective. We have to change our perspective of how we approach our lives, our reality, our relationships, especially if we want to continue to be in spiritual leadership roles.
A lot of that is being challenged right now because we are crossing that threshold. Recognize that when warfare kicks up, it's because you're about to go to the next level. If you take the opportunity to rise the fuck up through it, otherwise you go down with it. And fear is the main tactic. Fear, again, as I've explained, is not human emotion. It's a spiritual force, a lesser force that is invoked, that is conjured, and then set forth, targeting the templating and how the biology correlates to things on a multidimensional level. Again, this is why I encourage people to take actual initiation into the occult, Because without the foundation of proper knowledge and wisdom, all of this other stuff is not going to be able to be navigated correctly. And you're going to hit that fucking wall and you get spit the fuck back out. And then you're wondering, why aren't things moving forward? Why does it seem that people aren't fucking getting it? And people want to split hairs on this shit, Amanda. When one person sees a 6, the other person sees a 9. And that's how triangulation happens, because they don't have a 360-degree view.
Well, let's speak to that really quick.
Yeah.
Speak to what triangulation is and how it infiltrates us, because me and you have both experienced triangulation, right? And this happens to everybody. It's
attacks, because they don't want certain people communicating, coming together, because of the potential for something greater to be implemented or potentially fucking manifest. I know how it goes in group dynamics. And if people aren't doing the real work, I guarantee you all the shit comes flying the fuck out.
Yeah.
If you're really working to implement change in the realm on this fucking level, you can expect warfare. And not being able to discern it energetically in terms of frequency and vibration, one of the tactics that these fucking entities implement is to get you to assume that what you're dealing with is the other person, without first checking yourself, and then go into some kind of psychological fucking projection, plaguing the fucking victim, pointing the fucking finger. And I've said this since 20, everybody's going to have to face the magic mirror gate. But that gate specifically is showing you everything that you are not. Co-sign the narrative in terms of fucking identity going into its death throes. And that's all the gnashing of the teeth and the bullshit.
And just to be clear, like, it comes in through your most closest interpersonal relationships. This is how it comes in. It comes in and attacks you in all of your vulnerable places, all of your weaknesses within those relationships, all of the weaknesses within your own heart and soul. Okay, the things you're trying to overcome within yourself. And that's where the parasite likes to insert itself, lodge itself, and starts to feed off of you and starts to slowly break you down. That's what it likes to do. It likes to break you down.
It's on a drip, right? It's not so obvious, because if it was obvious, then you'd be able to see it for what it is. But people are first eye blind.
I was going to ask you about that, because ever since you told me that in the last show we did, I've been quoting the first eye is the heart, and I love it so much. What's the second eye?
Your physical eyes.
Physical eyes. Okay, that's what I thought.
What I correlate to be the second eye. And then the third eye, of course, is the pineal. But the pineal is directly connected to the lens of the first eye. This goes back to the ignition of core intelligence and connection to the higher force. Without that, I don't care what the fuck people think they know about anything. You don't have that point of navigation to see clear from a 360-degree point of view. And then you get triangulated in upon in terms of these particular types of situations. And in terms of protocol teaching with the mystery school, one of the things that you wanted to get into, how do we authentically keep this shit at bay? Right? One thing people need to do is start getting focused with an actual path work and stop going with all this fucking shit that's flying the fuck out, especially online.
We both have some pretty amazing offerings helping people get aligned. Me and Sethikus both have literally dedicated our entire existence to this type of work, not only for ourselves, but also to help others as well, as much as we possibly can. We have some really incredible things we want to talk about with you guys and share with you, how to approach psychic self-defense and protection and all of these things. We did talk about triangulation, but I know there's a lot of other ways in which spiritual warfare presents itself in our lives. And I think there's a lot of other ways in which attacks can happen. And if you could speak to that a little bit more in detail.
In terms of psychic warfare, it's your thoughts. And then also the emotional charges that you feel surging through your energy bodies on a multidimensional level. Most people, they're privy to their 5 physical senses: what you smell, what you see, what you taste, touch, hear. Most people don't even have the gift of being able to discern frequency, energy, and vibration, because they're pretty much locked down into the 5 physical senses, right? The thing, though, with it is that people do need to pay attention to their bodies, because all bodies on a multidimensional level are converging here in this realm on ground level. We are in the highest realm we could possibly be in, because everything converges on a multidimensional level. Why the fuck else will we be here on Earth other to anchor the higher here and ascend and course correct the goddamn fucking timeline? When you're presented with the actual fucking reality of what we're up against, this fucking tidal wave, aeons of indifference to the actual soul, it does go back to the betrayal cycles that happened in ancient times.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the cause point for why it continues to pull people in, not only is it imprinted within the template of all humans, it's that cause point where you as an individual are conditioned to betray your very soul. Trade it
Yes.
the fuck out.
Yes. Yes. Now, I want to touch on, do you think this is related to hybridization, traumas, and programs? Because this is what I've come to see a lot, is that it's being handed down generationally according to contracts, and of the forced breeding programs, the hybridization programs, which is where we're actually battling a percentage of a reptilian that wants to consume our own light. And
Right.
so that's kind of, yeah.
All of that is happening interdimensionally. The way that it happens is through the body. It happens through the body politic on a multidimensional level. The whole concept of extraterrestrials, they're not out there on other fucking planets and all that shit. They're all here interdimensionally.
Yes.
And the way that they get in is through the gates of perception, specifically when it comes to how people process the gauge of their perception. And this also becomes very specific in terms of templating with the individual. This is where I take people into the arts, learning how to master the second cosmic law of correspondence, as above, so below. And the as above, so below, again, is the exact same thing as the as within, as without. Until humanity remembers that the heavens above are within us, we're not going to fucking evolve. You realize that we have been cut off from nature. We have been cut off from the universe. We have been cut off from the higher force. We have been cut off from soul. Because if that wasn't the fucking case, the realm would not be in chaos.
Right.
This is what people need to realize. The ones that are implementing this shit are some of the most fucktarded, moronic, low consciousness creatures in the entire known cosmos. For a seemingly intelligent faction to do what they fucking do, they're fucking retarded. And they need to be seen as fucking retards. Not that they have all power and we need to be in fear of what they're implementing. All people need to do is to say, no, we're not going to consent. We're not going to agree to this narrative. We're not going to co-sign. The thing is, because of how people have been conditioned, and this is a major cause point of triangulation, people are conditioned to be pistons in the machine. And then when that is threatened, when the actual truth of what we're talking about comes forward, and now they're faced with the actual fucking reality, everything that they have built their lives upon, whether through education, religion, politics, all this first veil shit, they will do everything they can to defend it because that is their life. That is everything that they have invested in. Because when truth comes into a situation, if things are not in alignment and it's not true, it's going to completely and totally obliterate that shit.
Yeah.
One of the things that I definitely experienced before I really got on track with everything was my life falling apart, being ripped apart at the fucking seams. And at the time, I didn't understand. There was a lot of fear. There was a lot of confusion. But it's because my life was not in alignment on the level.
You can look back and you can see it after you can get to a
Oh,
certain
yeah.
point and you can piece together the things that happened.
Yeah.
Specifically for me, because I was on such a mission, grid worker wise, to correct reversal gate systems and also understand them, have to understand the mechanics and how this stuff works. Throwing myself into correcting the reversal gate at the Vatican, I did become spiritually attacked for about a year
No
after
shit.
that.
No shit.
Yes.
I even
Yes.
warned
And
you.
oh
I
yeah.
even warned you.
Yeah. Okay. And this isn't for everybody. Okay. This is definitely for those that have higher level initiations and have definitely worked within the realms that are more challenging. Okay. And have experience, right? So I wouldn't recommend anybody to go do this, of course, but I approached it without any fear. I feel like I asked myself one question: would I die for what I believed in? Like, do I truly believe that I have the power and I have the ability spiritually to go there and extract the darkness and the evil and transmute it and help correct these reversal energies? I do believe that we all have the capability to do that if we believe in ourselves enough, right? And it's
going to take at least 51% of the population of the entire fucking planet. A tipping point in terms of leverage and context to that. Until that day happens, everything that we know in terms of contrast will continue.
I really
To deny
realized
that,
having that experience, though, how the satanic forces work. When I was there, I was getting night terrors and what's it called where they paralyze you?
sleep paralysis.
Sleep paralysis. I was getting that almost every single night that I was in Rome. And then it happened for an additional 3 months after I came back. They would come into my dreams and really try to break me down and present themselves in some really crazy ways. One of the things that they liked to do was hold me in suspension off of the floor. So you're in the state of paralysis and they're just holding me off the floor. So you can't do anything about it. That's one of the ways that the satanic energies and the satanic forces try to break your spirit down, is by consistently attacking you in the astral time and time and time and time again until they can weaken your forces energetically, emotionally, and spiritually. So it's really about building some powerful shields. No matter how much you build up your light body, no matter how much you work with the protective forces, we're still we can still be penetrated. So it's knowing, it's kind of knowing what can happen and not fearing it. So you have to really change like your mental perspective, and you have to be mentally strong to work through it.
Again, mastering cosmic law. The first cosmic law is the law of mentalism. It is all about your state of mind, and they know it's all about our state of mind. One of the main tactics of dark sorcery attacks, whether it be psychic or influence through the media or whatever, is nerve induction. Okay, understand. The nervous system is the technology we utilize to streamline sound, consciousness, energy, frequency, and vibration into physicality on a multidimensional level. It's not just the 5 physical senses. People talk about clairvoyance, psychic ability, telekinesis, all of these extra sensory perception abilities that they don't want us to be able to tap into. And then, of course, religion has demonized that shit. It's just demons. And that's all bullshit, because the individual who's templated has a specific ability that, yes, can be ridden in on by these entities or whatever the fuck. Now, people like us are a massive fucking meal ticket. These motherfuckers take me.
Yes.
I explained a little bit of what I experienced in my shamanic initiation in the last segment with Black Earth Productions. I honestly don't think that too many people out there are necessarily having these types of experiences, but those of us that are stepping onto the front fucking line, going to the Vatican like you fucking did, I was like,
who does that, right?
Be careful.
There was actually another group there, believe it or not. So there are people doing it. The grid worker technology is definitely making its way, you know.
The way we're going to win this war is through education. A reformation in terms of education. Going into the camp of the enemy, you're setting up a fucking signal for these motherfuckers that come right at you. And I'm not saying don't do that. Don't be bold. Don't be courageous. But look at the result in terms of what you've experienced after a whole fucking year. Didn't you go to DC as well? Right.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you thinking? You're fucking crazy, man.
Somebody has to do it. We can't just
I agree.
Sit back and do nothing. We have to go and heal this world. We have to be land shamans and correct the degradation that's spiritually been imposed upon the consciousness of the earth. It's our duty. It's our responsibility. And we can't just sit back and do nothing about it. Like I told you before, would I die for what I believe in? Yes. Like I believe this is what we should be doing. We should be dedicating our lives to our mission. Which we have, but we need to be smart. We need to go with wisdom. Trust me, I have had that too. Why don't we all just fucking go and kill these motherfuckers? You don't understand. You're talking about taking this shit the fuck down. And that's the last one. But in a way of peace, right? Like if that's able to happen, but it's not to throw the baby out with the bathwater in context of what I'm talking about. That's the last resort. What's going to bring it is true education. True education in terms of what is really going on, how things actually work, how to heal, how to override, how to, ward your field and not wrapped up in the fucking drama and contrast that does want to pull you out on a provocation. Never allow the enemy to provoke you into their trap, right? Yeah. So when you go out, you got to watch the flanks, read The Art of War. Are we in a war? We are absolutely in a fucking war, and there are casualties in fucking war. There are no rules either. Like we need to be peaceful and we're not meant to slit these motherfuckers' throats if given the fucking goddamn opportunity. That's bullshit. That's cowardice. And if freedom is on the line, and again, I'm speaking from a man's point of view and not some castrated fucking patriarch motherfucker, a man that knows the difference, the realm will continue to be in chaos. Well, any time in history that we've gotten any sense of liberation or freedom, we've had to fight for it. Right. And where you manifest that first and foremost is your domain. What does your own life look like? To that, I'm going to pull this segment into a break. This is Sethikus Boza, Black Earth Productions, Blue Flame, Healing Arts and Occult Science, Temple of the White Dragon, here with Amanda DeMarco via Indigo Angel. We'll be right back, right after this.
friends, we are back from that break. This is Sethikus Boza, Black Earth Productions, Blue Flame, Healing Arts, and Occult Science, Temple of the White Dragon, here with Amanda DeMarco via Indigo Angel. And now, to continue with the segment. What do your relationships look like? What does the relationship with yourself look like? If you're dealing with all this stuff, these indiscretions and second guessing and doubting and fear, yeah, it is an indication that you're getting hit. And not to co-sign those narratives being in denial of it, because the way nerve induction operates and the way shadow also operates, it disguises its thoughts as our thoughts, its feelings as our feelings. We think it's us in terms of assumed identity. And when that identity is confronted at any point of triangulation, it's going to bring up everything that's potentially hooked in an individual's template and needs to get stacked and burned the fuck out, going into the healing arts and learning how to ward your field and coming to know how reality actually works and also why this is taking place. Whole entire human races all across the board are relentlessly attacked, whereas there's the fucking enemy. No. They've been able to trick people into consenting, bowing the knee for fear.
And that's the satanic ritual abuse and what they do when they have these mass shows and they're having children in cages, where we see these mass ritualizations that are taking place.
Yeah, just throwing it out there. And they have to let you know.
There's multiple negative grids, like just so we have these higher heavens and these higher harmonic universes and these higher earths and these higher dimensions we can access. There's also a very detailed, tampered grid network that's running up underneath us as well, infused into us in all dimensions. And that's the thing about spiritual interdimensionality warfare, is that it's all simultaneously existing with the higher. What I've been seeing, there's different types of grids. One is satanic ritual abuse collective grid. There's black magic cursed grids. There's artificial intelligent grids. Yeah, there's the Metatronic grid. There's actual grids that hold these realities in the structures themselves. They're collective egregores. They're soul harvesting. And so many people are plugged into these as well that they're filtering through this artificial structure of a prism in which, you know, they're identifying their reality and, like you said, can't tell the difference. And I think that's one of the ways, like you said, it infuses into the emotions, but I think it's also infusing into the core template. Yeah.
This is nothing new. This has been going on however many fucking cycles. How many times has this been attempted? How many times have we even had this conversation? Kind of weird.
This does feel like deja vu.
Paradoxical type of shit. But I think about this kind of stuff. Now, you're talking about grids. The ancient grids, I know this for a fact, that are buried asunder underneath all of the overlays and distortions, net traps, snares in terms of grid works of consciousness. Those ancient grids have lit up right underneath our feet. Okay?
Yeah.
And are pushing all of this stuff up and out, writhing to the fucking surface so it can be extricated to fucking reality. But because a lot of people don't understand what it means to be a grid worker, I've traveled the entire North American continent for over the last 15 years working Anchor, and it wasn't always successful because of the contrast, because of the things that come up, and then people aren't able to navigate that shit because, again, they have co-signed the narrative. What the world is dealing with right now is nothing more than a massive identity crisis. You don't know who the fuck you are. You don't know what the fuck is really going on. You don't know how things actually fucking work. Scathing the surfaces of branches, hacking out the fucking leaves, thinking that you're having an impact, but you haven't even gone to the fucking root of what the hell is really going on in terms of actual occult proper knowledge and wisdom that reveals the crux of the hour that we are in. Okay? All of it does go back to the betrayals that implemented the fall. I remember how things were pre-fall timeline. I have memory within my template, the inner knowing.
When I said to you, the fall is a program, does that resonate as any truth?
Absolutely.
To you? Yeah.
Absolutely. It's something that was implemented onto the consciousness templating of mankind to play itself out again and again and again and again on a fucking repeat fucking cycle. A skip in the fucking record. That's how these motherfuckers get their harvest. On a drip, like I was talking about. It's not so obvious because they got to keep us alive long enough to
be that food source. Yeah.
Right, to get that fucking loosh or whatever people want to fucking call it. And if that doesn't piss people the fuck off, how do you see yourself?
Right.
Do you really see yourself like that? How do you see yourself? Recognize you have been conditioned to see yourself as a fucking slave, to see yourself as less than, not
Yeah.
capable to rising up above these certain triangulated fucking equations. Again, you got to know how it works to really be able to do that. Otherwise, when you hit that wall, like I was saying, you get spit the fuck back out. At that point is usually when people go back into old patterns, always of living, always of being. They give up. They say, this is too fucking hard. This is too much. I can't fucking do it. And I've been at that threshold many, many, many times myself.
Right.
Hyperdimensional warfare in 2023. Holy fucking shit.
Yes.
And you were able to confirm, which I can correlate to what I'm picking up on psychically as well. None of this shit is us. It's not coming from the soul.
Yeah, yeah. Let's talk about that for just a second too, because I think one of the complaints that I've got is in the spiritual community of healers and people doing this work, redirect people back to themselves. You're not doing enough shadow work. You're not going deep enough inside yourself. Yes, that's true. That's an imperative part of the process, redirecting back to yourself, looking at yourself. But there is an outside force that also brings this in.
Right.
There's a lot of gaslighting. There's a lot of not really understanding. There's also a lot of people existing off of the distortions of spiritual abuse and spiritual lies coming from healers. And there's a lot of trickery and imposter spirits within that.
Yeah,
So it's really hard for people to navigate it.
All this fucking bullshit. No. What I implement, the importance in terms of protocol. Shadow work, again, you got to know what you're getting into in terms of alchemy, alchemical rites of initiation. That comes later. But a lot of people want to jump into that and they don't even have a point of navigation, knowing, first of all, what they're getting into, let alone connection to core intelligence and the higher force. That is the key to everything. And without that, good fucking luck. Good luck.
Yeah. As you know, I'm teaching a course that's coming up February 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of 2024. It's a goddess warrioress boot camp to help the feminine, the divine feminine, with psychic self-defense and protection. It's interesting, you were telling me about a warrioress tradition with your ancient bloodline. So yeah, tell us, enlighten us about that.
Right. And it's like I've said, the warrior and the warrioress need to be standing side by side, not going to war with each other. That's what these fuckers want. They
Yes,
want men
yes, yes,
at war with
yes.
women, women at war with fucking men. It's divide and conquer. It's fucking programming. It's
Yes.
neo-feminist fucking bullshit. Straight the fuck up.
Extremisms of both ends. The extremisms of both ends,
When
definitely.
you talk about the warriors tradition, that exemplifies itself through and through in terms of the tradition of my ancestors. I think that women should know how to fight. I think that women should
Yeah.
know how to kick ass when they fucking need to. Recognize who your true enemy is. Okay. All I hear from the matriarch is down with the patriarch and all this different kind of shit. Look,
Yeah.
that patriarch that you fucking despise is also what my kind despise as men. Because these are nothing more than castrated pieces of fucking shit that worship and serve the dark goddess. Okay.
Yeah.
And you brought that forth a little bit of information, that inverted fucking womb gate. It's the complete and total antithesis, the inversion of reality. Another tactic in terms of hyperdimensional warfare is when they get us divided and conquered amongst ourselves, gender politics,
Yes,
whatever the
yes.
fuck. And it's
It's
all
it's
nonsensical,
absolutely right.
adolescent fucking bullshit.
It's so important that men and women cherish each other and work together to build the unit, the family unit, and
They want to destroy
the
that.
community.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's one of the main things. Destruction of the family unit equals destruction of tribe, equals destruction of identity. If you don't know what your
Yes.
blood codes are, if you don't know who your ancestors were, you don't know who the fuck you are.
Yeah.
And in the West, with what's been implemented with the religions of the trifecta, you want to talk about triangulation in the West? Those religions tore our people away from what connected us to not only the higher force, but nature and the universe and how things actually work. Trade it out for all of these things that have been implemented in terms of mind control and programming to see yourself as less than shit itself. Think about it.
Yeah.
What is taught, and you got to grovel for fucking forgiveness and all this fucking bullshit. How much more fucking satanic can you get? You want to talk about triangulation factors? It's two sides of the same fucking coin. And that's how the checkerboard mutation, you know what that is, flips on itself in terms of manipulating the spindle of energy force. So you can't even see things for what it is. Recognize Abraxas for what the fuck it is. It's both God and the fucking devil. It's the same fucking entity. And it's the same thing with the Watchers. This is all a part of the Metatronics.
So really at the core of this, we have to really heal the sacred unions. We have to relearn that again as men and women and
look at what
efforts
it's
towards
up
it.
against.
Yeah.
They don't
True.
want unity consciousness streamline the reality field on a level. Everything's also been thrown into the cauldron of competition instead of collaboration, right? We come together, we collaborate to build something that's greater than the sum of its parts. It's the unity of opposites, because men and women are fucking opposite. We're opposite creatures. We're not the same at all. The crux of the mystery of the mysteries does go back to that point in the ancient past when that was betrayed. And then we wonder why all the issues and the problems and the bullshit continue to operate on the fucking program. Some people get it together, most people don't. But what it really boils down to is, are you connected? Are you connected to core intelligence? Are you connected to the higher force?
Yeah.
Has the first eye cracked open so that you can actually see this shit for what the fuck it is? Like I was saying, going into splitting hairs about these topics, it fractals out on itself as it's designed to. And then slowly, over time, siphons your energy, siphons your time, siphons your life, and you just get wore out. Nothing's resolved or nothing comes together. And that's what they count on, because nobody's coming at any of this from a place of core intelligence. And so before even jumping into the deep end or stepping onto the front lines of the fucking war, you have to have a proper foundation. And that's one of the main things in terms of proper foundation, connection to the higher force, and also knowing how to ward your field in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Is spiritual warfare an aspect of reality? Absolutely. Is denial in the light community a factor? Absolutely. Because they don't understand what is required to actually ascend.
I think people are listening right now. Yeah.
I'm just saying they've been conditioned in terms of spiritual escapism. And
I know for a fact we're speaking to some people's core heart intelligence as we speak today, because I can just feel the activations of this conversation, and I know that it's rolling into waves of consciousness that's awakening. Maybe you can speak to the goddess at the maiden warrioress. What was her role? Like you said, women should fight with the men, and this goes back to the Amazon warriors as well. Even though there was a rise and a fall of this matriarchal timeline in which the Amazon warrioress basically ruled North Africa and the Mediterranean, they would fight and battle. Like riding on horses, they would fight.
When you got some pieces of shit coming in to fucking raid your fucking tribe and kill you, then you gotta fight. I don't care if you're a man, woman, or child. It's common sense. I'm not opposed to that. What I am opposed, though, is women against men, men against fucking women. That needs to be transcended if we're gonna have a fucking chance in this realm. That whole fucking social fucking discussion needs to go out the fucking window. It's just doing this. I'm right, you're wrong. I'm right, you're wrong. It's men, it's women.
And what do you think that's going to take, is to reestablish more of the traditional roles with
taking it back to the original teaching in terms of how things actually work? Because if you violate cosmic law and the alignment of how things actually work, shit goes into fucking chaos. It's a natural recourse. It's cause and effect. It will have its manifestation. And there's no changing how the objective reality field operates. But if you don't know how it operates, which you were never meant to know, again, occult knowledge not given to the average individual, then you are caught in that snare of programming. And then you wonder why your life is in fucking chaos. So to the goddess.
Speaking to the goddess, right? Because women are going to have a different approach. Women typically don't condone violence. We don't condone physical violence, but there is an art of spiritual warfare, which all beings, men or women, should be able to learn, and to learn spiritual perseverance.
Look, I don't condone violence in context to going out there and being a fucking piece of shit. But if a certain line is fucking crossed, you better bet your ass I'm going to put a motherfucker into the fucking ground. And so should anybody else. Like, oh, don't hit him back, Johnny. No, put him into the fucking ground. Because if that continues, they think they can just get away with it. You understand? I mean,
You have to stand and
it's
defend yourself. And it's
exactly.
you have to do it on a spiritual level as well. You have to rebuke the energies, you have to cut cords. How do we do this on a spiritual level? How does the goddess approach the art of spiritual warfare?
It's to stop seeing yourself as less than what you really are, first and foremost. Again, how do you see yourself? Another thing that's happening in the realm is that a lot of the younger generation, a lot of these younger girls are turning into nothing but a bunch of fucking whores. Okay. That is just fucking insane as far as what's happening.
Well, the sexualization of the Western culture.
Right. And again, it's nothing new. It's just another round. And we're seeing it very, very clear. All of that energy is being harvested as well. Men aren't acting like fucking men.
Mm-hmm.
They're like a bunch of fucking
It's a
beta fucking
purification
incels
process.
that are feeding that bullshit. A thing that happens because of the fucking program. Now, if you're going to transcend the programming, you really got to know what is actually happening in terms of this hyperdimensional war. One thing I want to bring up here, the S.P.Es. And S.P.Es are suppressor parasitic entities, referencing this specifically from the Ascension Glossary. And I'm going to read this, okay?
Okay.
And I expounded a little bit, so just bear with me here. Listen to
Okay.
what I'm about to say. This is the crux, okay? An SPE is a genetic artificial intelligence that was sent by the higher ups in terms of the old ones, that which was in the needlecraft, like we both know, that were sourced from the trickster imposter spirits and are a type of militarized AI designed to dominate and possess consciousness through mind control, projection, nerve induction. They have the ability now to be able to drop thought forms straight into people's central nervous system. The signaling in terms of what they're sending out, get people to doubt, to fear, to second guess. These are the tactics, again, like you're talking about, to wear you the fuck down.
Yeah, looking glass technology. There's something that amplified with that as well. Gang stalking has been coming up a lot, and them doing satanic ritual abusive magic in other countries, activating some technology where they're able to tap into it in other locations where groups of them can all kind of feed off of the same interdimensional spy ability and start astrally gang stalking people.
It could happen in dream time. It could happen energetically. You don't necessarily know where it's coming from, but it's a question of why. Why? It's because you're more formidable than you realize.
I think one of the things that really builds your spiritual shield is purification. The stronger and more disciplined and disobedient you could become within yourself, the stronger of a shield you're going to have against the negative forces. And it's such an imperative part, building that spiritual armor, and which builds your inner warrior, is to...
It's a fucking attitude. You understand? It's an attitude of, don't fuck with me. I'm going to be cool. But if you cross this boundary condition, and all healthy relationships need a boundary condition. It's not just wide open and our hearts are on our sleeves and all that shit. That's retarded. That's how people get fucked up. You know, this is a sacred thing. This means something to me. I'm not just going to put that on the fucking chopping block. And neither should anybody else.
Yeah. And there's also compassion and to hold the heart
Have
open.
compassion for yourself first. And that's how. Because a lot of people would take advantage to that.
Yeah.
If you're just wide open. And that's what the dark ones also count on. Because if you're wide open like that, one of their main targets is the heart. Now you got this squid shit coming out of the hearts of people that took the needlecraft. Statistically, 17 million people statistically have fucking died in the last year and a half.
Yes. A lot of people
Let
from
that sink the fuck in,
myocarditis.
because
Yeah.
you want to continue to placate a fucking fantasy within this goddamn fucking realm and continue to go out into the fucking distractions and all that shit. You are a part of the fucking problem. People like us, like me and Amanda, and other people that fucking get it, are calling all of you motherfuckers out in context. It's not going to get better. This is a militarized psychotronic warfare technology that is primarily sourced from the Orion groups. And you know exactly what that means.
Yeah.
And also the Consultorium Black Sun program, which all goes back to the cult of Aton and Set Typhon, which has its roots on Earth to the Sumerian Draconian Empire. Where did they first start genetically modifying the human races? In Sumeria.
Right.
It's the same.
So you're calling them Sumerian
playbook.
Draconian, Sumerian Draconian, Sumerian Anunnaki, Sumerian Draco Anunnaki.
It's all the same shit. Whether
All
it's
the same.
Omicron, whether it's Odedicron. They're all part of the same fucking agenda. They might fight amongst themselves. Fuck.
Okay, yeah.
I'll take it back to World War II. It was a war of dictators. Humanity's thrown in the fucking middle. They threw the fucking dice to see whether it was communism, fascism, or socialism was going to rule the fucking day. What do we got now? Communism. These left-wing fucking pieces of shit. Okay. And all of their traditions and contexts go back to this. All of it. That's all they fucking have. They don't have anything beyond it. They can't even operate any other way because they're fucking programmed as well. They're programmed to self-destruct. Evil contains within it the seed of its own destruction. Just like Michael Tessarion has said. At this point, it's like I said, stand your ground, continue to inform, and navigate through these times, knowing the difference.
So continue to educate yourself on spiritual warfare, hyperdimensional warfare, psychic self-defense, and people want to be like, oh, well, we don't want to have to defend ourselves. We're tired of warfare. Warfare is just getting started exponentially.
There's people who have been talking about this ever since I quote unquote awakened in this fucking lifetime. We need to prepare. We need to prepare. We need to fucking dig bunkers and all this shit. If people want to do that, okay, that's your prerogative. But recognize how we're actually going to win this war. This is a militarized psychotronic warfare technology, again, the weapons technologies, that is primarily sourced from the Orion Group Consultorium of the Black Sun program, Cultivaton Set Typhon, which has its roots on Earth to the Sumerian Draconian Empire. They are mind and body parasites that can be individual or in clusters that attach to the bioneurological system and are a mind control technological warfare. It has been observed that after a sequence of deeper layers of infection in the light body, the S.P.E will harvest genetic material out of the human DNA to make a type of cyborg, human 2.0, transhuman. The S.P.E will harvest genetic material out of the human DNA population through AI, and those that took the needlecraft are no longer classified as human by the Supreme Court. That's another factor in terms of their legislation. Everyone gave their rights being human away. Think about it in terms of what's being implemented. This is how it's worming its way in. It's how it's burrowing the fuck in terms of the unconscious, subconscious mind field. Again, identity, you're no longer human, according to the agenda.
Yeah.
Those that took the needlecraft are no longer classified as human by the Supreme Court and to further be used for a variety of purpose of whatever they are programmed to. It appears as well that through insertion of holographic images, holographic inserts, that's another term that I think we both know, with the intention to control the individual's consciousness, the S.P.E can also create an astral delusion that the person believes is real by becoming obsessed or addicted to it, which attaches them to the lower astral grid, works even harder, and acts as a consciousness net, trap, and snare. S.P.Es specifically are ultra-aggressive AI parasites that invade the central nervous system. Like I was saying, nerve induction, graphene oxide, wrapping itself around the literal nervous system itself to monitor a person's thought patterns so that they can mimic them on the surface, laying dormant to be undetected. They're being ridden in on. They monitor thought patterns and emotional behaviors and search for weaknesses with the human host so that they can aggressively use those weaknesses against the person to plummet them into very low frequency vibrational thought forms, which feeds the predator mind of the old ones. And when a person has weak spiritual, energetic development, weak moral character, along with a weak mind, this makes it much easier for the AI parasite to control the human being and prepare the body for dark force impostor, trickster, spirit possession. That's the summary.
That sums it up. Yeah, you summed it up well. I do Draco seal removal. I'm constantly working on the central nervous system, the 10th vagus nerve, the spinal column to alleviate parasitic blockages. And there's such a vast level of holographic weaponization that these beings, because they've been at it for so many thousands of years, were preset to come into experience these holographic interdimensional warfare imprint controlling the base templates within the astral. One thing I see is a swastika, an artificial rotating swastika between our connection to the metagalactic core. Dracos really like to distort things with time.
Swastika is to do with the whirling force of creation. Now, if that's twisted on a reversal,
it's twisted on a reversal. Yes,
if it's twisted on a reversal, it's a vortex vacuum into the fucking abyss.
Yes. Yes.
But the swastika is actually a very sacred symbol.
Yes, I know that. I know that. They've definitely corrupted it and they want to disconnect us from galactic synchronization.
Right.
So there's planetary pole modification that they were already manipulating. The Baphomet fields and the Baphomet realms, the
That goes back to
whole,
set type on specific
yeah.
for
Yeah,
access.
but those are Draco seals. They have seals. They literally have seals in the buildings themselves, the Treasury building. Baphomet seal network holding stuff in place there, guarding it.
And again, with the Baphomet, it's also how they demonize the goat, which is a very sacred symbol, especially in terms of my ancestors and my people and my lineage specifically. Knowing the difference in terms of this dynamic, it pisses me the fuck off. The Baphomet that people think is the Baphomet is not the real Baphomet. That's a front, and you don't know what the real fucking Baphomet actually is. I'm not saying that that's not a factor. To bypass anyone's point of reference, recognize that there is more beyond the surface.
Yeah.
Come to know more is going to continue to be revealed.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons why I've taken to implant removal as a practice. Sacred symbols, holographic images, everything can present or manipulate and stick inside your field, basically. And being reimplanted, being reconnected back into those degradational grid matrices and templates that run up underneath us that will plug us back into a whole implant system all over again. And it just takes falling unconscious, being impacted by spirits that are feeding off of you and want to attack you and get in between all of your relationships
Yeah.
and get plugged back into these things and don't even know it. And then you have to go through implant removal. I don't think people realize how extensive the universal implant systems is that just the planetary bodies dealing with, let alone us on an individual human level.
Yeah. Doing that for people, I'm wondering at this point what the actual success rate has been in terms of that.
Yeah, well, that's why I moved it into coursework because what I decoded after doing hundreds and hundreds of J seal removals is I started to decode more universal seal systems and implants that ride with those. I started seeing one in each timeline, an entire implant system that's in the Lemurian system, an entire implant system that's in the Atlantean, an entire implant system that's in the Aryan timelines. The success rate would be to ultimately have the removals, whether you do them with someone or whether you self-remove.
Yeah.
And you're feeling the release of this, then move it into learning how to really do it yourself by having all of the information, understanding the root of it. Where did it come from? How does it get here? How does it get blocked? Once you have all the pieces and you know what everything means, you build intricate psychic depth perception in which you're able to read it and you can see holographically as well. It develops your ability to also see. So I cultivated it and restructured everything and turned it into a course so that everyone could just get all of the information and learn how to do all of the types of seal removals. And whether you start to see other types of implants and seals, there's more.
My thing personally, as far as the structure of the school and how I approach the healing arts, I do have the ability to do healing on people. But I've also experienced situations where I'm not even fucking allowed to touch whatever the fuck someone else is dealing with because they need to fucking heal it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Assisting individuals is very important. But like you just said, people need to get on their own track with this shit and realize that they do have the ability themselves to tap their template and to route this shit the fuck out, stack and burn it the fuck out of your template. The thing though with a lot of these situations is that there is an assumed identity attached to it. And that's why people are in fear because you feel like you're going to fucking die. Who you've been conditioned to be in terms of that. Okay.
I think people have lost their ability to exercise divine commandment. They don't feel they have any authority in the spiritual realm. Well, you damn well do. You have the ability to authoritatively command your own field and command your own blueprint and command your own manifestation template.
Exactly.
And that's what people need to build, that courage and that ability to see that their words, that their intention, that their desire, that their needs are spiritually reflected back to their selves from their higher selves, and that they have the ability to command whatever they want into existence. It's just, do you trust yourself?
Right.
Do you trust source?
Do you even know thyself? Do you know who you truly are?
Yep.
And most people don't. And when the true identity, the true will igniting within the template starts to reveal itself. That's when the malware programming kicks the fuck in terms of fear. You've been conditioned to be afraid of who the fuck you really are. Why is that? Because that's what the dark ones fear. Again, fear being
Yes.
one of the main tactics of hyperdimensional war is nothing to do with core intelligence or the human soul whatsoever. So anytime that is happening, you're out of alignment. You're not in alignment. And getting into the practice of evocation, making declarations and speaking things on purpose. This goes back to the heart because your tongue, and I've been teaching this for quite a while now, is directly connected to your heart. If you want to see anyone's process at any given time, pay attention to their communication. And just observe it. They're letting you know exactly where they are in terms of
That's
the
true.
gauge of their perception to process and how they're navigating that gauge. Now, whether it's skewed or in alignment, how do we actually know the difference? Again, proper knowledge and wisdom, having the right foundation, having the ability to actually remove this shit and give people clarity so they can start navigating themselves and start catching it themselves.
Yes.
What you mentioned, how there are people out there exploiting people's woundedness in terms of being quote unquote fucking healers. It's like the dark accent in terms of the cult of the medics. There is no profit in health. Keep them sick and keep them coming. You don't want people to become dependent, but actually getting results. And then their life starts to become an example. Then it's going out. You know what I'm saying?
The goal is to move people into their own mastery.
It
It
takes
takes
years.
time.
It could even take lifetimes.
Yeah.
Think about how long it's taken to get here. How many lifetimes has it taken to get to these moments we are in right now? It's taken fucking aeons.
It's a beautiful thing at the same time, isn't it?
It is. Right, because in the face of the contrast, you have to recognize why it's happening. It's because we are making a fucking dent. People are waking the fuck up. I don't care how it looks on the other side of the equation. I will never co-sign that fucking narrative in terms of my own life and what I will experience otherwise in the face. Even if the world burns down to fucking ash, I'll still be fucking standing. How about you? Will you still be standing, or anybody else? Or are you going to cave into fear and just let this devouring force, this parasite, come in and just fucking take it all? What rightfully belongs to you, which is your life, your soul, your birthright in terms of incarnation? Fuck these motherfuckers. And that's the attitude of the warrior.
It is. I was just going to say, you're channeling the warrior right now. He's coming through.
This is like 5%, Amanda. This is nothing. I'm having like a course of conversation with just blah, you know?
Yeah.
It's the fire of life that ignites. That's what they want to kill.
Yeah.
That fucking goddamn drive to rise with the sun every morning and have a sense of meaning and purpose to your existence and not live in fear.
Yeah. So many people, we're trying to help them get back there. Really, really, truly. And you do this by blackearthproductions.com. You have an adept initiatory process.
Services page directs people specifically to the mystery school. I recommend level 1 apprentice. That's an entire curriculum. I do one-on-one mentorship with people. I work with people one-on-one. And the reason why is because how specific it is to an individual's templating. It's not a one-size-fits-all. But based upon universal laws of metaphysics, the eternal axioms, how things actually work. Okay, how does that operate with you as an individual? Now, we have similar templating with the water element specifically. Going back to psychic ability, let's talk about that for a minute, because be able to detect or know any of this fucking shit. How do you go about navigating these experiences? You're obviously getting insight that I can confirm. You have that ability. How is it, though, that at the same time, being able to discern, being a seeress, being a seer, recognizing how much static there is within the psychic field, how do you actually know if something's true or not?
Well, of course, there's moments that I question if what I'm getting is true or not. Mostly, though, I trust. And in terms of navigating my own personal life, you have to sometimes, I wouldn't say turn it off. Like, I don't know if you
can't.
When you're around certain people,
you really can't turn it off. That's
yeah, but when you're around certain people, they can't understand it, they can't mirror it, and they can't participate with what you're saying. It's overwhelming, it's too much, they just can't go there. So you do have to keep things to yourself. And it's difficult because you know what they're thinking. You really know what they're feeling. You really know deeper levels of what their subconscious and even their higher selves is going through. But you have to keep it in a framework of human interaction in which is respectable to their inner privacy. You can't bombard their inner world. So, yeah, I wouldn't say I ever turn it off, but I definitely suppress it sometimes around some relationships that I have. But when it comes to my work, when it comes to grid work, when it comes to my clientele, I open it up and
Just let
just,
it fly. Right.
mhm.
Because they're there and they want to know. Right. I swear to the gods, though, there have been times where I'm picking up on stuff and I'm gritting my fucking teeth. That's another part of the warfare factor. Those of us that have these extrasensory abilities can pick up on what's happening with other people. And they don't even fucking know it. How the fuck can they not know it?
Yeah.
Blows my mind.
I'll tell you what, it does come in handy when you're playing poker because I can read a table so good.
Hospital, right? You gotta ante up,
Yeah.
motherfuckers. You gotta ante
Yes.
up. You gotta
I
level
usually can
up.
read someone's hand. I can read their hand. But
Protecting the
no.
aces. All of
Yeah.
us,
I know who's got the ace for sure.
you know? So
I love it so much. I love to develop it. I love to work with it. I love to practice my remote viewing. I think a lot of people think that it just comes easy. It was something I've always had, but it had to be developed to the degree that I use it now through a lot of self-development and education and understanding my own mind and how things work. It's taken time really to get to where I am,
yeah,
especially with remote reading the grids. It wasn't always that easy. It was something that was developed. Interacting with a lot of psychic people throughout the years, having my own teachers and way showers, it took me studying remote viewing and the technicalities of it because I'm a very analytical person. I do like to get all the information and how we use different areas of the mind to put together total vision, psychic vision, how it's about imagery, it's about imagination, it's about memory recall, it's about accessing every single part of the mind to put together total psychic vision. And so,
and see, the
yeah.
mind is much more than what people actually realize. And some of the things that you just mentioned do correlate what mind actually is. It's not just this squishy thing in your fucking skull. That's not even what mind is. The brain, what I term the radar of mind, I take it back to the nervous system, central nervous system, parasympathetic. That technology does have a direct effect on how our thought and emotion operate, the gauge of our perception, and also why we react and respond the way that we do.
Mhm.
In terms of our template, the gauge of your perception could be completely different than somebody else's, vice versa. You triangulate it in upon, you got this split down the fucking brain. That's another factor that's manifested via the cataclysm. You can take it back also to the Atlas parallax bone on the back of the skull that rests
Mhm.
at a 23.4-degree axis, which ironically is the tilt of the Earth, pulling on the nervous system, causing deregulation in context of how our thought and emotion operate. It's a cause point for being polarized within the framework of your biology on account of the cataclysm. This is another challenge. There are certain factors within our biology, physically speaking, that are already offset the
Mhm.
alignment of what the birthright requires. And so going through this process integration of healing and stacking and burning this shit out of our fucking templating, another thing that comes up, not just fear, but pain, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, temporal challenges, pain, actual fucking pain. A lot of people have been conditioned to avoid pain at all costs,
Yes.
chasing the pleasure principle, all the routes and distractions in terms of escapism, instead of seeing that corridor of pain as the path to liberation and actual fucking healing. Because if we can't embrace the pain, we're not going to win this game that's being played on.
Well, and the more you avoid it, the weaker it makes you on a soul level.
Anyone want to sign up? Well, if you want total and complete liberation and freedom and true empowerment, whether you're a man or a woman, then there's a specific path work this entails. And there are certain protocols that are required, certain things that you're going to have to do that are going to be difficult, that are going to challenge you, that are going to force confront the programming and all this different kind of stuff to what's on the other side of the equation, the remembering in terms of who you truly are, your connection to the higher force,
Mhm.
and that power to not just navigate these times, but master what it means to be human.
I
and
love
not
that. I want to
operate
try
like a
and
fucking slave.
where do I start trying to know myself or find myself and find my identity? It really does come back to that as the base. For me personally, it wasn't until I had access to the cosmic realms
Mhm.
and I got more of my galactic identity that I started to know who I was. I had to get the cosmic
Yeah. And
intel first.
that's all a part of things in terms of what I call the galactic spirals of creation. But when it comes to the solar spiral of creation and where we are in this realm, we also have that in terms of templating. There are three spirals of creation. There's the solar, the galactic, and the universal. Now, I can get into my galactic templating, and all of it is very real. I'm not saying this about you, but a lot of people out there that are privy to that as a cause point of spiritual escapism into another realm don't recognize again why we're here. It's the master being human, and to anchor that here, it's to anchor everything here within this realm. If humans are at the spear tip of evolution, our true potential, and not being overridden by mind control, AI, parasite, and all the things that we touched upon, where you begin to know thyself all goes back to blood, first and foremost. And I'm talking about here, your family lineage, the
Yes.
bloodlines that you incarnated, and how all of that correlates to the ancient traditions and context to animism. Everything has essence. Who are you? Wait a second. What the fuck is going on here? What is this? Again, with my ability, my discernment, I could see how my peers were already at that age starting to be indoctrinated to be Pistons. All the different offices and positions in the world. I don't want to be any of that. Wait a second. Who am I? And that question has always been with me. And I discovered how to go into the knowledge that reveals that. And that's what I get into in terms of level one apprentice. Not just the arts, as far as learning how to master the law of correspondence, but also protocol teaching. Things in terms of the trivium, the quadrivium. This was taking out of education, where it used to actually be a part of the public curriculum. People learning how to learn things correctly. So that's also a part of things in terms of laying the proper foundation, learning how to master the first cosmic law so that you can navigate the knowledge that you will come into that reveals the answers to that type of question. Again, everybody's template is different. Astropsychology, tarot, alchemy, numerology, and there's so many other things as well that reveal these amazing things about who we are. And when you really go into it authentically, you can't make this shit the fuck up. It's absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah. Well, it's so important because it really builds a foundation for you to exist off and upon,
Yes.
right? That's what's missing is the foundation. And so you can't build anything, you can't anchor anything, you can't move directionally if you don't know who you are because you can't even see the future timelines. And you have to be able to have connection and vision and clarity into that as well. So
Right.
everything builds upon the next thing within your own internal development. But yeah, that's so fundamental. I agree so much with that.
Yeah, one thing I want to mention in terms of blood codes, when it comes to the ancestors, when it comes to gods and goddesses, different pantheons of different tribes of the ancient past, that is also who we are in terms of identity. And that's why it's so powerful. Another technique and what I take people into is knowing how to assume the archetype. I encourage women to work with goddess archetypes and men also to work with the god archetypes. Find one,
Yes.
not
Yes.
to worship and bow down to and make
Mm-hmm.
sacrifice to, but to be inspired by.
Mm-hmm.
Not to, glorify as something that you need to grovel and beg for its fucking forgiveness. No.
The Goddess Warrioress boot camp that we're going to do, we're going to really focus on build her inner warrioress. And by doing that, decorate the light body, decorate it with shields and sacred relics and even weapons, even tools, right? You can install this into your field to move with more agility and more adaptability and more dynamic aspects that's cultivated. A big focus in the coursework that we're going to do is enjoy the process of creating who your inner warrioress is.
Mhm.
And I think that's a special thing that I'm excited to share with everyone.
One
I
thing
can't
that I
wait.
encourage people to do is make an altar. Create a sacred space for yourself. Have an altar and put things on the altar that remind you not only what it is that you want to be experiencing, but things that inspire you, things that you want to emulate. Having an altar that every time you go to the altar and you're in this sacred space, you are assuming that archetypal consciousness within your template. And it's meant to be an inspiration, not like I'm the goddess. All of you need to worship me, or I'm the god. That's all fucking king of tyranny fucking bullshit. That's how they twist the codes. But that's one of the main techniques as far as working with archetypal consciousness. I'm not the type of person that's going to say, if you're a Carpathian white man like myself, to work with African archetypes, right? Or Native American or Chinese, right? People in the West, and I'm talking about Carpathian whites. There's the Caucasus as well, and then the discrepancy with Samaria and all this shit. Okay, that's a whole other fucking topic of conversation I can get into. But the tradition of our ancestors and the things that had been implemented as far as the mythos and stuff like that, some would even say that the gods were human, that these were actual people that existed during the Hyperborean and Polarian timelines, which is pre-Atlantis and Lemuria. It's even more fucking ancient. Even going back to Maldek and Tara, our occult history is so unbelievably fucking vast, and you want to park it at that point of Atlantis and Lemuria. In terms of this realm and this timeline, it does go back to Kemet. It does go back to the crux of the procession and the betrayal cycles and my memories of that shit. How the fuck can we be making it up when the evidence is clear otherwise? And then you go into second guessing. Then you go into doubting. Then you go into, again, warfare, psychological warfare, spiritual warfare. They don't want us to remember who we are. Because a man or woman that knows who the fuck they are cannot be fucked with, cannot be mind controlled, can't be tricked, can't be drawn out on a provocation because you know their tactics. And when we make our strikes, they don't see it coming.
Well, this has been a good conversation today. I feel like we've covered a lot of bases. Obviously, we can come back and probably pick up where we left off. It's always a pleasure to bring in your insight. I felt like your insight was going to be good and necessary, especially with the direction that I'm going. I think it's to bring that realism of what we're really dealing with and have that offering open to those that feel like they're ready to step into this level of mastery. If anyone's interested in taking a look at the course that I have coming up, it's at learn.indigoangel222.com. Let everyone know how they can find your adept training.
Everybody head on over to the website at blackearthproductions with a Z at the end.com. Click on the services page. That is the framework of what is offered with the mystery school. And it's not just level 1 apprentice, also advanced initiation as far as Ulfadnar training, which does get into learning how to master the art of hyperdimensional warfare. But level 1 apprentice is required before level 2 adept can be gone into. If you're running out on the front lines and you're all jacked up, they're going to psychically hone the fuck in on your ass and you're fucked at that point. So it's not to bypass anyone's fire or flame, but you got to know thy enemy, but even more know thyself.
Yes.
Because if you know thyself and you know thy enemy, there is no battle, there is no fucking war, there is no trial that you won't overcome. So it's a systematic curriculum, and it does take time. We follow the law of Gebel, which is the law of equal energy exchange. Do I charge for my school? Absolutely. It's just like any other school out there. I'm able to work with people, but this is my life.
Yeah.
This is your life. This is what we do. This is why we incarnated, to be way showers in this time for people that are ready to not just potentially graduate this motherfucker, but go to the next level. So taking it back to the warriorist tradition, again, as a man, one thing I want to address is be aware of the propaganda, that neo-feminist propaganda that could be riddled within that.
I do want to support the rising of the matriarchy. I feel like it's something that is happening, which is the repairing of the divine mother consciousness and
the alignment of the divine feminine. It's the actual alignment. God and goddess need to stand side by side, not go to war. Like we hear also about in the fucking pantheon. Learn from the lessons of the gods and all the fucking stupid shit mistakes that they fucking made. It's going to continue to be twisted on a virtue, otherwise negating another part of the fucking equation. And it's all designed to keep the divide and conquer going. I'm all about the divine feminine. I think women need to fucking rise.
Well, I think at this time too, a lot of women, and I'll tell you, it's a good percentage of women, they've given up on the masculine.
That's the
But
fucking
then
problem.
that's
We're not
is
going to
they're
fucking
letting go of the
transcend otherwise.
attachment.
It don't happen. It will hit that wall and go into a feedback loop. I guarantee it. Now, I'm a part of a knighthood. You need to understand that about me. Okay. My discretion is be aware of the fucking programming, because any sort of divide and conquer and this whole down with the patriarch bullshit needs to fucking stop with the feminine. We got to come together on the fucking level. Otherwise, we don't reinstitute the birthright and the actual alignment of what was before that great betrayal took place. And it was the split right down the fucking middle, that divide between men and women, which plays itself the fuck out and has but getting it right. And the two recognizing what the nature of the true divine feminine is, what the true divine masculine is. Just because you're a man doesn't mean you're a fucking divine masculine. Just because you're a woman doesn't mean you're divine feminine. It's very specific and it has a lot of requirements and accountabilities also attached to it. If you're going to be anchoring the higher end on that part, we need to be supporting one another and lifting each other up instead of tearing each other down and all this shit, which is what the dark ones want. That's a part of that hyperdimensional warfare.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of layers, and I can say things that really ruffle people's fucking feathers. How my auric field is, it's like a fucking spear, just like.
I understand you more this time for some reason.
Good.
It's just where I'm at too.
You want to talk about hyperdimensional warfare and trials?
I'm happy that
And see, that's the other thing. When things are not in alignment, I don't think it really matters who you are. You're going to be mentally punished. A lot of people out there are getting hit with that. And again, the mind, in terms of these flux waves, we're able to pick up on what's happening in the fucking reality with people, whether it's the region or the world or the galaxy or whatever the fuck. Like our templating, I know you have this ability as well, can reach far beyond. But as you do that, you're picking up on all these fucking cross streamers in the way as well. What is true, what's not. That specifically is a part of psychic attacks that have been happening.
Definitely. And I think after the La Cucaracha, the controllers or the cabal, they're recognizing that recoil.
I'd love to be able to manifest the temple in the actual fucking reality field, like LLC type shit. For real.
Me
Like
too.
an actual
Me
school
too.
where people can come. How are we going to get the leverage to be able to manifest that? And it's not to fall into fantasy with it. We need actual leverage in terms of the temporal. It's going to be all right. Personally, I'm going to still continue to do what I do until the time is right. Because that type of vision, I mean, you try to bring things together on that fucking level, you better be dealing with people that fucking know what the fuck is up and have their fucking shit together, because it won't happen otherwise.
Yeah.
You know,
well, like you said, people at the top deal with collaboration versus competition. And so it is important that it's a higher level of intellect to be able to navigate relationships on a business level and be successful at it.
Yeah.
If you talk to most millionaires and billionaires, that's the strategy. They have got to network and they've got to access all their resources. And
I correspond with millionaires that consult me. Think about the wealth in terms of proper knowledge and wisdom when it comes to what we actually know on the fucking level. It's fucking priceless.
Yeah.
To see it like that, you know, wealth can manifest many different ways. But the obsession with survival, I don't negate survival instinct. We're all going to survive. You're going to survive. But coming into a place of thriving beyond where things have come, where is it going? Think about the impact and the reach that we're able to implement by doing this. And at the same time, being able to work with people that actually want to learn.
And then where else are they going to find it like that?
Right.
And we have to make it happen.
Right.
That's what people don't get.
And that's frustrating, because know you as yet or what, motherfucker? That's know you as yet or what? Know you as yet or what? Know thyself. You could be dealing with attacks otherwise, but after going through the course with myself, having any sort of counsel, have something that they're applying to their lives and actually getting results with. It's obvious that we're making a fucking mark. What the fuck does the power of the true masculine, divine masculine force fucking look like? Do you think for a second that it's going to tolerate evil in the realm?
Right.
It's like T cells. It's going to eradicate that shit.
T cells. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cells. Cosmic T cells. Is that not what we are?
It's definitely a struggle for the feminine, for sure, to understand. I've worked with the masculines too, and I'll even ask them the question, how do you define your own masculinity? Yeah. What do you see as like the highest aspect of your masculinity? Most of them cannot define it.
That's a problem. That's a major
They don't
problem.
even know. They don't even know where to start. That I'm sitting there telling them. It's just awkward,
It
I'll
is
be honest with
awkward because the man's not going to get it from a woman. He's going to get it from another man. You're basically playing mommy at that point. You need the gun.
you. Why
All
I
of
can
these guys are
speak.
dealing with arrested development and context. They need masculine fucking mentors, men that have a warrior fucking prowess that actually.
But this is why I can speak to the matriarchy rising right now, and why I am speaking to it so much is because I feel that power rising up within myself. Here I am holding a reality, a template, a platform.
But I can't teach a woman how to be a fucking woman. That's weird. Isn't that just weird?
It is weird.
You know, it's
Yes, it
like,
is weird.
let me teach you how to be a woman. What the fuck? Like, shut the fuck up. No.
No, I get it, because I
Well, we
can't
can
nurture
get
their
to the social
masculinity.
dynamic of what's going on, but this is a part of the warfare. This is a part of the fucking psyop turning men effeminate.
Yeah.
On the other side of the equation, not that women can't be warriors, women become overtly masculinized, which siphons your energy as a woman, that power of nurture. And then it's going into competition and war and bloodletting and all this like insane shit that can be marked throughout the fucking histories. It's a fact. Why has this happened? Why the fuck is this realm so fucking insane? How is it that you can see it, that I can see it, that other people can see it, but the vast majority can't fucking see it because they're fucking programmed? We have been through that process integration of burning through this fucking bullshit.
We've
And that's
also
why
gone
we're
through
in
the
the position
process of
that we are.
rewiring our brains. I think we've
That's
rewired our brains.
yeah, it is a rewiring.
Yeah, and we have the ability to hold a lot larger amounts of intellect than other people do. Because of that, we can see a lot more and we can understand a lot more.
It does boil down to IQ capacity, IQ distinction in terms of pattern recognition. There's things that people can do to increase their ability. But if you can't see the lie for what the fuck it is, you know, truth is never going to fucking reveal itself. While approaching that center point, that epicenter of what the fuck all of this is, I think we're in a major transition 2024 onwards, or it's the last 3 years. It's that shit that we're burning through. That's also targeted by these fucking entities. They're coming in with their signal waves to target that shit. So everything's back up for review.
I feel like this is going to be a year of rebuilding myself in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So many ways. Yeah. But I'm more focused on it now.
Yeah.
And at least I can see it.
Let's
where I
focus
need
on the
to.
idea that the cosmic pendulum is going to now start swinging in our favor. How are we going to cultivate a pathwork or even build anything legitimate in the world if we're focused on what these fuckers are doing? It's impossible. And that's their content, talking about what other people are fucking doing instead of doing something or bringing something viable that's going to motivate people to actually do some fucking legit shit.
Well, that takes a lot of work.
It does.
What we do takes a lot of work.
It's the great work, and it's the hardest thing that anyone can do here.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a lot of time and dedication to yourself, to your studies, to the person you want to be, to the message you want to have for humanity. And there's a lot of thought and meditation that goes into it. And yeah, hard work.
Is the white belt at the same level as a fucking black belt?
True. Yeah, exactly.
There's nothing wrong with that. Talking about that point of pain. It's there as a teacher to show us how to grow and evolve. Embrace the pain. It hurts. Okay, good. That triggered you out. Okay, good. Now we're getting somewhere. Now let's see what's in the way. Go the fuck off on me, motherfucker. Tell me to go fuck myself. Go
Wow.
ahead.
Yeah.
Let's see what's going on underneath the layers of pretense and candy coated fucking bullshit. Because it's all there underneath, and approaching it, again, having a healthy boundary condition is key. Again, you're too wide open, like I was saying, they can hone the fucking, they gain your trust and then they just stab you.
Right.
Betrayal cycle. How do you think the betrayal happened? It wasn't that obvious. It wasn't like, oh, there's the enemy. It wasn't like that. It was subtle and sneaky as fuck, and that's how the trickster spirits operate. As a condition that qualifies true self-respect and also cultivates the environment where things can actually flourish and fucking prosper. And if it does come flying the fuck out, we don't resist it. Like, okay, let's go. You're angry, go ahead, let it out, motherfucker. Be straight.
It's been amazing to connect with you and talk with you tonight. I definitely appreciate it. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful rest of your night, and let's do it again sometime soon.
Keep me posted.
Okay, I will. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
to that, everybody go on down into the description for Amanda's website. It is indigoangel222.com. And for the Goddess Spirit Warrioress Bootcamp, it's right there at the very top with the website by clicking coursework specifically for those of you women out there who are interested. As for myself and for anybody out there, go to blackearthproductions with a Z at the end.com. Everything in terms of Black Earth Productions with the Mystery School as well as the Temple can be navigated on the website by also checking out the archives for more segments that have been presented and also linked out here in terms of this platform. If anybody out there has been hanging on the edge of pulling the trigger on doing level 1 apprentice full rights initiation into the Mystery School, now is the time to do so. Level 2 adept is available for those who've done level 1 apprentice, as well as other services with the Mystery School in terms of readings, in terms of counsel, and a lot of other things that have been implemented in terms of the framework and the legacy and lineage of what this Mystery School represents. As for products that are available on the website, we have the Nectar of Athanasia, and again, the power of the blue flame is real, as unto the universal laws of metaphysics and the eternal axioms, and occult arts and sciences, and teaching applied with the Mystery School. This organically brings forth the goal of consciousness itself. And as to its physical, alchemical manifestation, an ultra-ancient elixir to practical magic that consists of the highest quality gold, liquid gold on the entire face of the earth. This assists the integration process of initiation and states in the mythos the nectar would manifest to the procession of the grand cycle, and we are the first to release this in the entire world. This recipe is of the true legacy of Kemet and exists again now since what happened did in our time. It was most necessary to bring this forth and make it public. We hail forth the spirit of the military general of the human heart and unto the birthright of mankind. The Nectar of Athanasia is available in terms of credentials with level 1 apprentice and also to the public rate for anybody else that would want to inquire. We have Thunder God Root Vine that is also made available, and it's a highly extracted botanical powder, all compressed of 29 all-natural, carefully selected herbs, which are refined using a renowned water-based extraction process, which is meant to destroy the myo and spiroplasmas, which reflect a certain physical manifestation of the Ouroboros within the biology. It contains Triptogerium, Walfortii, clove, thyme, milk thistle, Japanese dogwood, weeping willow, neem, fern, lavender, horsetail, sweet lime peel, honeysuckle, cabin patchouli, bamboo, astragalus, and a lot of other things added to this specifically. With the Thunder God Root Vine, I encourage people to take it in smoothies, starting with 1/4 of a teaspoon, increased to 1 teaspoon per serving, at least 4 times a day, and at least 2 hours before bedtime. We have the Earth Fae Magic Apothecary, which offers a wide variety of natural organic herbal products. There are bulk varieties of herbs made available, full apothecary kits, capsule salves, extracts, tinctures, ritual body oils and sprays. All items that are there to assist the process in terms of the healing arts, and everything in context to not just physical health, but mental clarity and well-being in all of the 5 areas that we are working to master in terms of our birthright. We have our weapons forge for anyone that is interested in having their own custom forge, as I've been working with directly a 3rd generation blacksmith. Everything that he has crafted, that I've consulted him for, is some of the top quality weaponry that I've ever seen. And these are not just meant for ritual, let alone display, but are battle worthy to the standards of not only the ancients, but the times we are living in now. The Serpent of Wisdom hoodie is made available, and also Star the Alfar shirt in terms of the merch line with Black Earth Productions. And we got a lot more coming, not only with the Mystery School, but everything else. As again to level 1 apprentice, full rights initiation into the mystery school comes with a 20% off discount and also a potential 3-part payment installment so that you can get in right away and get started today. With this, you get full access to the Black Earth Library and all reference material in terms of the mystery school and one-on-one mentorship sessions with me, where we're going to be speaking directly and diving deep into the occult. For all of you out there that are interested, send me a direct email at blackearthproductions with an S at the end at hotmail.com. I'll say it one more time, blackearthproductions with an S at the end at hotmail.com. To pull things out now, more into the concept of what me and Amanda got into. A warrior with a sword in hand. He stands brave and grand. With armor strong and heart so pure, he faces danger with courage sure. She hears the call of battle cry, and fear within she does not deny, or she knows what she must do to protect her people and see them through. With every step and breath they fight with valor, and though their hearts may fill with dread, they face their foe without a shred of regret. For they are warriors who will never fold, defenders of truth and fighters so bold. And in the face of danger, we shall not yield, for we know that courage is the only shield. And when the battle is done and the war is won, he stands victorious under the setting sun. She, a warrioress with a heart of gold, whose courage will forever be told. This is Sethikus Boza, Black Earth Productions, Blue Flame, Healing Arts and Occult Science, Temple of the White Dragon. I look forward to speaking with more of you soon. And if it's been a while, anyone that has been initiated, hit me the fuck up. Let's take it deeper. Be empowered. Be encouraged. Pills!